In this video, we're going to remove this steering stem for my triple clamp on my Suzuki SV650. We're going to use a press to push the top of the steering stem and out the bottom of the lower triple clamp. This will also remove this stuck bearing race that I had trouble getting off in the process. You're going to need to support the lower triple clamp with something slightly larger than the steering stem, but as close to the stem as possible. A socket or a piece of pipe works well. We can't just support it on the left or right side of the clamp because that'd be too far away from the stem and we risk bending the lower triple clamp. Also consider protecting the top of the steering stem so we don't damage the threads by placing something between the steering stem and the hydraulic press. I have a piece of solid brass that I'm going to use for this. The press I'm using is a 12-ton hydraulic press made by Central Machinery that I purchased from Harbor Freight. Starting with the press plates, then the support. Again, I'm using a 36mm socket, your steering stem, and then the piece of brass to protect the top of the stem. Try and make it as straight as possible. After reviewing this footage, I can see mine was slightly crooked, so try and do a little better than I did, making it as perfectly straight as you can get it. Getting it started took a good bit of force, but eventually it finally broke free. If you can see here, it moved just a couple of millimeters. That was that loud popping sound of it finally breaking free. But once I got it started, it went a lot easier after that. Continue pressing, and eventually it'll come all the way through. It might just fall right out though, so be prepared to catch it. Now that the stem is free, I can get this bearing race off and the dust seal. Once you have the two separated, inspect the inside of the triple clamp and the outside of the steering stem, and give it a light sanding if it needs it to clean off any corrosion. If you look at my steering stem, you can see where all that rust is on the end. That's what should stick through when it's in the triple clamp all the way. Right where the diameter steps up is where it seats against the triple clamp. Take note of that on your steering stem, so that way you have a good visual confirmation that it's in all the way when you have the right amount sticking through. I repainted my triple clamp and now it's ready to be put back together. Insert the steering stem through the clamp and get it started the best you can by hand. Just like before when pressing the stem out, we also need to support the lower triple clamp when pressing the stem back in. This piece of 1¼ ID iron pipe works really well. It's a good fit to go over the stem and give it a close support, and it's also long enough to let the stem push through without hitting the press plate. And again, the piece of brass between the press and the stem. So set your rig up just like before, and press the stem in. Luckily for me, pressing the stem in was much easier than getting it out. When you're getting close, pay attention to make sure it looks like the stem is all the way in. You'll know it's seated when you feel a good bit of resistance in the handle of the press, but visual confirmation is also nice, which is why it helps to take a close look before you press the stem out to begin with. There we go, mine looks like it's all the way in, and I feel a lot of resistance through the handle, so we know it's seated. And there you have it, a steering stem removed and reinstalled. I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching, and good luck.